What's up everyone? Welcome back to another Dark Souls 2 Scout of the First Sin walkthrough video. So last time we took our time getting down to this point and lighting Broom Tower on fire, which is now making everything a lot more active and we'll be able to traverse the other floors we couldn't reach before. So I mentioned there was that ring behind that column in the last video, and I never got it, so I wanted to make sure I went and got it this time. All I'm doing right now is kind of testing some attacking and blocking and rolling, just trying to get a feel for Dark Souls 2's combat engine and everything, because I haven't actually played this in a little while. I took a little break, played some Dark Souls 3, kind of got caught up in that, and I returned because I decided I gotta finish this. So anyway, this next part of the tower here is actually gonna be kind of confusing. We're gonna go up and down quite a few elevators. We're gonna jump off at locations and get back on at other locations. So try and follow my lead. I even get turned around a couple times here or there, but you want to take this elevator, and as you're going up, you want to hammer on the A button, or whatever button it is. It's A on an Xbox controller. You want to activate this illusory wall here, because inside this chest is the hollow skin, which that's kind of a mask. It's, you know, headpiece that you wear, and it makes you completely immune to cursing. So you're really supposed to use it in that tower to get the majestic greatsword with that invader I did last video, and you're supposed to use it in another area in here. I just went ahead and got through that tower last time, but there's still another area where cursing's kind of a problem, so I'll put it on for that. So after you get that, you want to make sure you run into this corridor here. And it's going to be kind of a pain. There's going to be a lot of exploding guys. There's going to be these armor, possessed armors and all that stuff. You're going to have to deal with some fire. You want to run in here though, because you're going to get 4 smelter wedges that you're going to want for the boss area. Because we should be running kind of low right now. We should probably have 2 or 3 or something. The biggest thing you do though is when you get up to this second floor is you don't want to run and rush your way down this hallway, because you're gonna get ambushed, and that's not something you really want to deal with, because there's exploding guys, there's these possessed armors, there's ashen knights that are kind of, you know, they do a lot of damage and whatnot, so we want to take care of these guys. I don't really have a lot of room to fight here, but that should be okay, just so long as we kill one guy at a time. Also on the left, there's a crack in the wall for these exploding barrel guys, so you don't want to hit this statue and make it go down the hallway, otherwise you risk blowing up these barrel guys. And you want to have at least one alive so that you can get this wall open. Try and get these possessed armors. And it's good if you can get them over here by the fire and get the fire to do a lot of damage to them. That guy's getting pretty close to dead. We'll take him out and try to get the fire to help us with this guy maybe. I already see one Ash Warrior to the side, so I'll try and get this guy first, because as long as you don't run past the side where this other guy's at, you should be okay. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so you're not going to be okay. But if you can kill the other one back there, you should only have to deal with this guy. And if you have both, run back over to the fire and use that as your defense. Once those guys are taken care of, you should be clear and you should be able to lure one of these guys, make him run away from you over towards this wall. Remember, that's all you have to do. You don't have to, like, hit them or anything. You just gotta get behind them and they'll run away from you naturally. Then, after that, we can hit that statue, send it down, and we get the Dispelling Ring +1. Now, you're probably going to want that because it's a pretty good ring. It's going to increase your defense to lightning, fire, magic, and dark all at once. Obviously, the +3 versions of the respective elements will probably be better because you're investing more defense in that one element. But overall, all round, that's a nice ring to have. So, after doing that, we get the 4 smelter wedges, which we're going to want to save for the boss. So, I actually later end up using one more than I should because I forgot. There's actually like 5 of these statues instead of like 4 extras. I guess I could say it that way. Basically, there's 4 statues near the final boss, and they all do the healing property. And if you don't take all 4 out, there's a chance that your boss can be healed if he runs over to them and gets close enough. So what you want to do is you want to save 4 of your smelter wedges to take those out. That way when you fight the final boss, there's no chance of him healing because he's already supposed to be the most difficult boss in this game. When they added him in this DLC, I believe he had like a 96% failure rate. And that's mainly just because his attacks can have more range than you think they do. And they do a lot of damage. And he's not, you know, extremely slow either. So you really want to take out these healing statues, that way you can even the game here and make it a much easier experience for you. Because, like, we got a healing statue back here that's kind of screwing with this Iron Warrior guy here. And that's why I poisoned him, because that should counteract the healing effect, and then it should just be like me fighting him with a sword. So remember this area, you're going to want to run over here. A good way to remember it is that it's by where you get your extra smelter wedges. You have to kind of cross a gap. Because you want to get over here, because there's one of the statues. Each statue of these ashen idols, that's what the statues are called, they drop a piece of a soul. And so each piece of the soul will add up eventually to equal 1 soul that you can actually cash in for a boss weapon. So you want to collect these, and since you're pretty much going to run by them anyway, you might as well get them. There's just kind of a small order of how you should do it, but there's really no... You don't have to go kill all these things right now. You could come back later. So, at the end of this video, I should have 11, because there's going to be 1 that I can't kill until I do an optional boss. So I'll go ahead and get this one here. That's going to end the healing effect. So just in case I had to come back here for whatever reason, there's going to be no healing for the enemy. Yeah, don't forget that Titanite slab. Titanite slabs aren't too rare. I mean, they're kind of rare. You're going to pick them up throughout your travels in the game, but... and there is a way to farm them so you can have infinite. But it's nice to not have to deal with that kind of stuff. If you go through here, you're going to see this room, a couple possessed armors. And I forgot that one over behind that metal fence can actually hit you. He raises his bow over the fence and shoots you. So I almost died there just because I had one of the armors kind of do that little trick. And yeah, they can attack you when they get back up too. Good, we didn't even have to fight him. That item, I'm probably going to die getting, so I'm not going to die right now. I'm going to go ahead and try and get through this area. You can see how much fire damage that does. And I could wear fire-resistant gear and fire-resistant rings and use a fire-resistant spell like Flash Sweat. But I'm not going to right now. And I'm probably not going to. I'll probably just take the hit and hopefully I don't die, but I'll probably die. That's okay because this actually opens up to the second bonfire we got to before we even got down to the tower. Or not really the tower, but you know, the main reactor that we lit on fire. That's that bonfire. So that's kind of a shortcut to that one. You're not really going to ever want to take that bonfire over the other one because there's enemies and stuff, and there's fire and weird shortcuts, and you're going to have to take an elevator down to get off, to take another elevator up, and it's kind of a bad spot. It's just mainly for killing these guys, and they assume that you might die fighting these guys or might die trying to get this item. So this isn't a bad little shortcut for this area. And maybe if I pop a life gem it'll save me, but I doubt it. Yeah, no. That's okay. See, Dark Souls isn't always about not dying. It's about how you die, where you die, and when you die. Because you're gonna die. So die on your own terms if you can help it. Die in an area where you're close by a bonfire, or where there aren't that many enemies to get to, or get past. Or, you know, it's not going to be difficult to pick up your souls. Because you're going to die at some point. And so just try and pick the best spot. For me, right now, that's, you know, I wouldn't have grabbed that item without the proper stuff. Unless it was really close to some sort of thing that would help me out, like a bonfire. So apparently you can't just run off that easy. Yeah, so sneak peek, we're gonna come down here later. But that's not what I wanted to do. There's no way I could have survived that ever. So I don't know, that was really weird. I probably should have jumped or something, but I'm pretty sure it should have just let me in, but it didn't. Almost like they put up an invisible wall. So I'm not going to go human just yet. I'm going to try this fall again. There's going to be a few areas around here that are going to be like that. Let's try jump. Okay, that worked. Hit the Pilgrim's Spontoon, which is a spear-like weapon, and it's specifically designed to cast spells from the weapon. So it's a catalyst. It can cast sorceries and hexes. Well, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay. So it's kind of like the sword Blue Flame. You can cast spells and stuff from it, although it is kind of weak. There are better weapons you could use. Blue Flame, I think, is better. But it's a spear weapon, so you can get the extra range. It's probably more for PvP. I admit, I haven't actually really put some time and effort into the weapon. But from what I've heard, it wasn't fantastic. So I think... I was just up here. Yeah, there's nothing over here. See, this is where you can get turned around, is This area is only really new. The only new part is this elevator that I already took care of. I guess since I'm hollow, let me just go ahead and try and get this item behind that gate there. I'm probably not gonna make it, but I think you can just sprint off. Yeah, you can. Cool, I made it. There's also a crystal lizard back here, but he tends to run off like that. I tried to get to his other side so he'd run towards the wall and not off the edge. And unlike Dark Souls 3, and I believe even 1 did it, where if they fall off the edge, you don't get the upgrade material. Actually, in fact, with this game, if you kill anything and it drops anything, you need to go pick it up. So you can kill a crystal lizard, but you have to go pick up whatever it drops. Where in other games, a crystal lizard would die and it would give you the upgrade material immediately. That way you wouldn't have the chance of losing it. Which, in most cases, if you kill your crystal lizard, the item's gonna fall right on the ground. You can just run over and pick it up. But if you happen to die before you pick it up or something, it's gone. That's kind of a downside. I'm not going to go and chase after that one. I don't think I'm going to need whatever it gives me. It's probably Twinkling Titanite, and I can farm that. So I'm going to run down here. And over here, we actually need to kind of be over here. Yeah, that's the way I want to go. Because going out in this area is going to get us a key. There's only a couple areas where you need the key, but there's a key out here. And there's about 3 of these Iron Warrior guys with smelter hammers. There's really no great way to go about killing them. If you're lucky and you can get one in here and these barrel guys explode, or if you can somehow get a barrel guy to get near one of those and then shoot him with a fire arrow or something, you can do a lot of damage and kill the Iron Warrior about instantly. Or you can just kind of stick to poison arrows. It takes me 5 poison arrows to get him though, which is kind of annoying because it's like just 1 more stamina casting and I don't have that. But the good news is that nobody's healing this guy. So he's going to take the poison damage, and if you keep adding some arrows to him, he should just fall over and die from poison. Or he'll get extremely close and a throwing knife could kill him, but whatever. Titanite slab. When I was recording this video, I actually managed to get like probably 8 Titanite slabs in this one video. I really wasn't trying to, it just kind of happened. I'm picking up all these items that you really don't need to go get. But I'm a hoarder. I'm a junkie like that. I like picking up just about everything that I can, even if it gets me killed. See, some people will play this game and they'll learn the locations of items because they don't want to die. So they'll say like, oh, I know very specifically that this ring or this key or this upgrade material, that's the one that usually gets me, is like, I can usually remember keys or rings, but upgrade material, I can't tell you where every piece of Twinkling Titanite is, but some people can. And that's just because they, you know, got into this area, realized it was going to be difficult, and, you know, they ran through, grabbed the items, and kind of remembered which ones were good. That way, when they had to run back through here again, they would know, okay, I go to this body, this body, this body, and then I'm out of here. Me, I just run through and grab everything. I usually end up killing everything, too. I don't do a lot of suicide runs. So I don't remember what everything is. But I can tell you that there's some good stuff out here and a key. So we're going to spend our time, and we're just going to go ahead and take care of this nice and slow. Plus, these guys give you decent souls. It's like 2,200 or something when they die. Yeah. So, that's kind of nice. Plus, poison arrows are nice in this game. There's really not an issue that poison arrows can't solve. And it, seems like I'm cheesing them, that I should just go out here and beat them with my sword. But hey, there are 3 of them, and they do a lot of damage. So I'm going to use poison arrows. Alright, your tower key. You're going to need that for, like, 2 areas. So it's kind of annoying. You have to deal with all this, come out here and grab the tower key. You're really not even going to use it, but hey, it's the 2 side areas. There are 2 optional bosses in this area. One's really not optional if you want to get that soul. You want to get the 12th piece of that soul, you have to go do it, which means you need this key. So, one of the side areas, go through this door, and that's all you need it for. Go down here. Kind of a long run. We'll take this elevator down, but yeah, there's an item here. And once we finally get down here, they time these just right so that when you grab an item, you're going to miss it. We'll get to Iron Passage. And Iron Passage is really crowded, kind of sucks to get through. And I'm not going to do that right now. That'll be the next video. I didn't quite realize how long this one was going to be, but after looking at it now, it's nearly an hour. I probably could have done the other boss fights, but it would have made this video probably an hour and a half, and I didn't want to do that. So I'll go ahead and put on this hollow skin. It's basically a face. And this is going to be a suicide run. I know I said that I don't really do these, but it makes this area a lot easier if you can get through it. You're probably not going to be that good at it. I died a lot of times getting down here. Basically, when you start to open any door, you should be able to roll through it and kind of speed it open. Or speed open it, I should say. But now you're going to be stuck in this room, and there's really no way out. You can make it out of there if the planets align and everything's perfect, but that's not going to happen. But now that statue's gone, and I picked up that soul. So I'm going to take this stupid mask off once I become human, because I'm not going to need it. That was the cursing effect that thing was applying. Now that thing's dead, so I can just put on my crown, run back over here, and now I don't have to worry about these kind of buffed enemies. Because when these Ashen Warrior guys are all covered in ash and buffed in ash, they will come back, and they're also harder to kill. And they might even do more damage. I don't remember. I just remember me killing them one time and going like, yay, well, they were harder to kill, but I won't have to deal with them again. And then they were like, surprise, and they came back and attacked me. So, you want to go down here, kill that statue. And if you don't get the soul, it's the one exception to the rule I was talking about. If you don't get the soul after you kill it, they'll leave it there because it's a kind of a key item. They really can't let you miss a piece of a soul. I guess they can, but they're not that mean. Once we kill this armor and these 2 warriors, we should be all good. This armor is actually kind of going full retard on me right now, so I can just go ahead and kill him. And that should do it. I don't think there are any more enemies around here. Also, other thing you want to grab, Fire Snake. A really cool pyromancy. So we picked up Dance of Fire, I think is what it was called, earlier. And that were in the last video, the first part of the tower getting down here. I picked that up, and that was the one where you could use fire, and depending on which hand your pyromancy glove was in, determined on how the fire went, because the fire moved from one side of the screen to the other horizontally. So it moved from like left to right or right to left, depending on what hand it was in. Fire Snake is another unique one. And that, you cast your pyromancy, you slam your hand into the ground, and it creates a tracing fire trail to go after your enemies. It's kind of nice. Trying to find this other elevator now that I have the key. And I know it's around here. See, this is me getting turned around again, because I know the elevator is up here. But I was just up over there and I didn't see it. Shouldn't be back there. Oh, it's right here. Okay, yeah. So we'll take this up. And we'll go over to the left side. And here's the only other door that you need to use that key on. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to kill one of these Ashen Idol statues. And yes, you're going to get invaded. Don't do this. Do not kill your Ashen Idol. Because that's why I just checked, as I remembered after it was too late. I said you need 4 smelter wedges to get rid of the ones by the boss, because there's 4 idols. Well, I just used that one, and now I have 3. So I'm going to have 1 idol that's going to be around to potentially heal my boss. Now, since I can take out 3 out of 4, it shouldn't be too much of a deal as long as I go ahead and lure him to the opposite end of the arena. This room's kind of cool. We'll come here later. These invaders, actually, you can kind of get away from. I forgot they can actually shoot through that stuff, so if I can get out of here, you can actually teleport to the last bonfire I rested at. And since I just touched that new bonfire up there, if I teleport, I'll go back to that one. Which is fine, because it puts these guys away. That was actually really close. But now those guys won't be there, and I'll be able to kind of show you this. So this armor here says examine, nothing happened. What you need is you need to have the Ashen Mist Heart that allows you to go into memories. So we did the giant memories and that dragon memory in previous videos or whatever. You need that, which you get from the ancient dragon, so you have to get that far in the game. And you also need to beat the main boss of the area. So this is one of the rare cases where you actually can't do your side boss until you beat your main boss. Which I typically like to do the main boss of the area last. It's a nice way to wrap it up. But you can't do that here. So after you get that, we can actually head down to the main boss. So we're going to want to take this other lift down. And there's two platforms. There's this top platform and this bottom platform. You're going to want to take the top one. And as long as you sprint at the right height, you should be able to make that. And the reason why you want to take the top one is in this chest is the strength ring. And that's going to increase your strength by 5. So if you have a club or something you want to use, say you wanted to use the smelter hammer, and you somehow had 65 strength or whatever, and you needed 70, you could put on this ring, and then you could use that smelter hammer effectively, perfectly. You wouldn't have to invest 5 more levels in. I don't know why you'd have nearly 70 strength normally, unless you're a pure strength build. But if you did, then yeah, you could wear that ring, and you'd have to wear it at all times to use your weapon, but it'd save you 5 levels. I kind of didn't want to fall down 3 floors, but I think I'm okay, because there's only really one floor you want to worry about. It's the one with the body down there. Because after you grab that ring, I'm pretty sure there isn't anything else we got to worry about. There's no other chest, or there's no other special item. I don't even think there's any other body other than the one on this floor down here. There's a reason why you want to kind of battle all these guys. Because down below in the final floor, there's another Iron Warrior, and these guys can actually kind of fall down and follow you. And you don't want to deal with them and the Iron Warrior. Got an Ashen Warrior sword. Wow. That's a really rare drop. In fact, I can say I've probably only ever gotten one of those. And it's pretty good, because it's a normal straight sword that has a C scaling in both stats, which I believe gets better when you upgrade it to plus 10. It's a little brittle, like the durability's kind of weak, it only has 30 durability. But it does bleed damage by default, has pretty decent scaling, and is also a little bit longer than most swords. It's just a tad longer than the Sun Sword, which you wouldn't think matters too much, but it kind of does. It's the difference between that one hit that you could have gotten, which could be the end of a boss. So when I went down here, I got invaded, so I decided to fall, and then I remembered Iron Warrior, and I died. So that invader gets a nice treat of me dying, and I'm gonna have to run back down here. That's not a scripted invasion. That's actually another player that's around here that's deciding to invade, so good on them. This game still needs active people. So I'm going to go ahead and just speed up the video from here, that way you don't have to watch me go down there at turtle pace. Yeah, that one invader, think about 10 times that amount of people when this game was thriving. You couldn't really get down here without getting invaded. And then it was just a matter of luck of, do you get to your bonfire, do you get to a boss fight or whatever. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's a challenging area, and a lot of people got upset because, you know, they didn't want to die on their way to this boss because it's kind of a long run. But, I don't know, I always thought it was fun. So long as you don't get invaded multiple times in a row by the same person, or even by different people. As long as you get a little breather, then, you know, I think it's okay. I don't mind dying once or twice to an invader, another person that's online, to keep this game alive. So after you make that series of falls, get past this Iron Warrior, you're going to want to book it. Just run straight. Don't worry about the possessed armor up here. Don't worry about this, you know, other armor and this Ashen Warrior. Just run right by them because we're really close to our next bonfire and we can just take this elevator back up if we want. There is a ring that we just ran past. But I'll come back and get that in just a second. Alright, so running straight ahead into that fog will take you to the boss of this area. The main boss. Running along the right side here, that's one of the NPC phantoms. Running along the side here, you can see here's our Ashen Idol. We'll go ahead and take one of them out. I have 3 out of 4 of the wedges, so I think I'll keep the next one along this side alive. And as long as you stick over here, along where these idols are, and you don't run too close into the ash, you should be okay, because there's a very good reason why I'm doing this, and that's because Iron Warriors pop out of the ground and attack you, and I don't want to deal with that right now. I want to make sure I get that bonfire. So now I'm good. Now I'll die and whatever. I'm going to summon the phantoms down here to help me clear out these Iron Warriors. And they're not that good. They don't do that much damage. It's kind of sad. This boss is hard and the phantoms that are around the computers aren't that great. So it really is all up to you, or if you can get another human player, kind of up to them. Maybe that's why there's a 96% failure rate. It's because there's really... I mean, don't get me wrong, the boss is still hard. He's got moves that he swings his sword and it goes a little bit further than you would think. And he does kind of quick jabbing motions and stuff that you don't think he's about to do. So he can be difficult. Once you learn his moveset, he's really not that bad at all. But also other bosses have better computers to help out. Better ones like Lucatiel that'll help tank the damage. These guys really can't do that. And yes, all of these people you want to destroy because there's souls and stuff that are in them. Only the first time, though. So we'll take out this Ashen Idol. Pick up the soul. We'll take out this Ashen Idol. That's 3 out of 4. So I kept the one in the opposite corner alive. So I just gotta fight the boss more towards this side. Alright, so I don't think I'm gonna take the phantoms along for a ride. I'll just send them home. Hey, what do you know? I got invaded again. Same person. That doesn't really surprise me. I would only expect maybe 1 or 2 people to be invading around here. If there are any at all. I don't know where this person is. But I think they're really not that close. They're probably up the tower and nowhere near me. So I'll get this backstab, I'll grab my ring, and then I'll do the boss fight. If they happen to be around, if I happen to see them before I do the boss fight, I'll go ahead and fight them. But I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, no invader. So I suppose I'm just going to go ahead and do this fight. So I don't expect you to beat this boss really anytime soon, especially if you're doing it by yourself. He does a lot of damage, and it's still kind of a tough fight. I'll probably make him look a lot easier than he really is, just because I played hours trying to beat him. And I tried helping my friend for hours. Eventually, when you do a boss enough times, you're going to learn the movesets. So, immediately out of the gate, he's not in yet. He has to summon it. So go ahead and hit him. You can already see we got a good chunk of his health down for free. That's pretty crucial, is to get those first few hits in, especially if you're going to be struggling. His big sword is really the one for concern here, because he does super wide swings like that. And he has a lot of back swings that you would feel like you shouldn't get hit with, that you will. And there's a very small area behind him that you really can't get hit, and you're going to spend a lot of your time there. So, really, stick to his front, wait for an attack, especially a wide swing from his big sword there. Do 1 or 2 hits, and then get back in front of him. You'll notice, as we keep fighting him, his sword is getting a little bit brighter. See that backswing? If I didn't roll just then, I would have gotten hit. So he ditches his other sword, and he goes straight for the greatsword now. Even then, if I wasn't blocking just now, I would have taken a lot of damage, and that still hit me. You can see my other Ashen Idol back there still kicking, so I'll keep him over here. Stuff like that. That was a really quick swing, and if you're not looking for his cues, then you're probably not going to see that, and you'll take a lot of damage. Really, one powerful swing from that sword right now could probably kill me. So really, don't try to tank him. Don't bring in a great shield and a super slow weapon. Bring in a somewhat faster weapon and dodge. That super charge up flame attack, he gets like extended range, like 1.5 times the length of his sword. So either get behind him or get really far away from him. And, you know, don't be greedy. If you're using a slower, heavier weapon, you're not going to be able to get him with rolling attacks and stuff like I am. You're going to want to stick to any point where he's open for a long time. See, the range on that sword is a little bit deceiving. I was back far enough. But if you're using a slow weapon, just see if you can pay attention to what attacks leave him open the longest. Swings like this, probably not a good time to attack him because he jumps around a lot. But if you can get behind this attack, and even then, I'm kind of surprised it didn't just get hit. But if you could get behind that, you might be able to get one hit on him. And that's usually people's major downfall, is they just get a little bit too greedy with him. Really, everything I've shown you is pretty much the attacks he's got. There's really not much more. He might do a jump attack if you're super far away. Stay closer to him, roll through his horizontal swings, and after enough time, you should be able to beat him. I'm not going to talk him down. I'm not going to say he's not that tough, because I remember the amount of time I put into him. But after you manage to beat him, you get the crown of the Old Iron King. So, yeah. So that is the Fume Knight. I guess a little bit of a backstory on him. You might have noticed he looked a little bit familiar. If you remember, before we got the King's Ring and we were inside the Undead Crypt where Vendrick was, we fought Velstadt. This Fume Knight, his name is Rame, is actually the brother of Velstadt. And his little story for this area is that he and Velstadt were the king's royal bodyguards. Rame was a very ambitious soldier. Always wanted to be better than his brother and everything. And I believe he ended up pretty much losing every time to Velstadt. And so he always wanted more power and whatnot to be better than his brother, and really couldn't beat him. So he ran off in search of more power, in search of his own path, kind of broke his oath, his loyalty to the king, and ended up in Broom Tower, where he met a kind of a queen lady. I'm not really gonna get too much into their story right now, but each DLC features a queen-like person who arrives and influences the kings or the kingdom in some way. So in Sunken King, we actually battled one. Her name was Alana, and she was the one that summoned Velstadt, the, sand Velstadt, or the mud version, and the skeletons, and was guarding the dragon. We killed her. In Old Iron King, we haven't actually run into her, and that's kind of the interesting part, because she's really not around. We've been picking up her soul shards, actually. So we've been picking up Nadalia, the Bride of Ash, souls. Nadalia is the one for the Old Iron King. And that is who Rame actually went to go see. Or really, he ran into her, and she kind of raised him. Didn't really raise him, but made him stronger, and he swore a loyalty to her. And that's who that ashen person was after we beat Rame. That was her. So she's dead. And we're picking up these, soul shards, or maybe she's not dead, maybe she's alive in the Ashen Idols, and we're picking up these smelter wedges and destroying the idols. So, really, that's kind of the interesting point about the Iron King, is that she's not here, but her influence has already kind of happened. So when we get to Crown of the Ivory King, you'll want to pay attention to some of these characters. But that'll be for the video after next, probably. So, what I'm doing now is I've been talking about it in a lot of the videos. I've been saying, hey, I picked up all these items and I haven't used them. I should go trade them in at some point. I decided now is probably a good time. I have a lot of petrified somethings, which you can come to the crows and you can turn them in. You gotta drop them one at a time though, otherwise the game doesn't convert them. So it's kind of annoying if you have a lot, but I'm gonna pick up a lot of Titanite slabs doing it this way. There's like 4 in a row there. Pick up an old whip or 2. Twinkling Titanite, Channeler's Trident, Demon's Great Hammer. Those are all weapons. The old whip, the Channeler's Trident, and the Demon's Great Hammer are all weapons you can't get anywhere else. You'll also pick up some other upgrade material. Petrified Dragon Bone is the best item to get the most rare stuff. You don't really want to use your Smooth and Silky Stone for healing. You want to try and drop them, but the button placement is just perfect, so that you usually end up using one by mistake. Next best thing to turn in is the Smooth and Silky Stone, followed by the small Smooth and Silky Stone, and then after that you can turn in like Prism Stones, which you can actually buy, and you're not going to get that great stuff. You're going to get, like, the best thing you can get is a Human Effigy. So we should be getting some elemental Titanite, like Magic Stones and Dark Knight Stones, Poison Stones, all that kind of stuff, from turning in these Smooth and Silky Stones. That's usually the main thing that they give you. But I seem to be getting Divine Blessings. You can also get Old Whips and Demon's Great Hammers and all that. It's just that they have a less chance of doing that. And lastly, I'll turn in these small ones. And I'll grab these. And that'll be it for now in terms of cashing in some of these items to get unique rare stuff. I might not even stop back in here at the end of the game. You might want to before you go into New Game Plus. We'll go ahead and just pick all this stuff up. It's a good way to get some of those elemental stones that you don't have, though. It's also a way to get some items that you might not have yet if it's early game. Like Titanite chunks from these small ones. You usually can't get Titanite chunks that well. Not super early, but you can get these small stones pretty early just by being a Shade and helping people out. And Shade, not Phantom. So use the small White Sign Soapstone to get the small Smooth and Silky Stones. Yeah, so you could get those and then you could come cash them and you could get Titanite chunks that way. It's kind of random, so you know, it's not really guaranteed that you're going to get one. But it's a good way to get them early game, so if you really wanted to max out a weapon or armor, you could. With that, that's going to be the end of this video. We've done quite a lot, actually. We cleared out Broom Tower, and now all we have are the optional bosses. So, that'll be for next time. And until then, have a good day, and thanks for watching.